Okay, this video connects up with page 5 of your notes handout. And we are talking here on page 5 about Descartes, Rene Descartes, a Frenchman, and Francis Bacon, an Englishman. And these are your real scientific revolutionaries. And they're going to call for a revolution. It's not a political revolution. It's not a social class revolution. But what they're going to call for is a revolution in thinking. So take a look at the top of page 5 here, and you've got these in rank order, and it says at the top of your fifth, prior to 1650, all major civilizations drew on 4 basic sources of knowledge, 4 basic sources to justify knowledge and authority. So circle these. These are the traditional basis: tradition, track record for long use and proven record; religion, traditional religious authority; sacred scripture. These were the highest ranking sources of authority: tradition, traditional religion, religious scripture, prior to 1650. What Bacon and Descartes are arguing for here, you can circle these and basically circle these and write scientific thinking. Here you can circle these and you can say traditional society or pre-modern thinking. But what Bacon and Descartes are saying, don't look to tradition. And don't look to traditional religion. Tradition and traditional religion, according to Bacon and Descartes, this is what they're seeking to overthrow. They're seeking an intellectual revolution. I say, tradition and traditional religion don't know what they're talking about regarding physical existence, regarding the natural world. For over 1,000 years, tradition and traditional religion said the earth's at the physical center of existence, and that's just not true. Bacon and Descartes' argument is for an overthrow. I say, this scientific thinking, reason is like logic, rational thought, repeated observation. This would be like the scientific method. They say, look here. They would circle these and they would draw an arrow up to the top. I encourage you to do so. It's like a political or social class revolution where those from below overthrow those at the top, but instead you're talking about thinking processes. Don't start with tradition. Don't start with traditional religion. Just because somebody's been saying something or doing something or believing something for a really, really long time doesn't mean that it's true. Bacon and Descartes' argument is if you're going to believe anything regarding the physical world, and all they're talking about is the physical world, understanding nature in the physical world, then it needs to be proven. But don't take somebody else's word for it. Don't take tradition's word for it. Just because something's been believed, like the earth's the center of physical existence for 1,000+ years, doesn't mean it's true. So Bacon and Descartes' starting place intellectually is this principle of doubt. Don't believe anything regarding the physical world unless it can be concretely proven, unless there's evidence to support that understanding regarding nature of the physical world. And if there is no concrete evidence to support that belief regarding the physical world, it should be, thrown out. It should be ignored. So for Bacon and Descartes, they introduce 2 of the major pillars of modern thought and modern belief. Doubt will lead us to certainties. What Bacon and Descartes believe is if you start with doubt, don't believe anything unless it can be proven, then you will know what you know for sure. In the background reading that we did for homework into today, it talked about kind of cleaning the slate. Locke's blank slate, that human beings can be molded and shaped. Bacon and Descartes are talking about cleaning the slate. Don't listen to tradition. Don't listen to traditional religion. Don't believe anything unless it can be proven. And they believe this will lead Western civilization to a unity and a clarity of truth based in scientific thinking. And again, we're only talking about understandings of the physical world. But in this regard, they say, don't look to tradition, look to scientific thinking, and only believe what can be proven, and what we know, we will then know for sure. Here's how Descartes puts this We ought never to allow ourselves to be persuaded of the truth of anything unless on the evidence of our reason, unless it's provable, evidence-based, scientifically, concretely provable. Okay, now let's take a look at page 7 here. And we're going to hop ahead. Page 6 I had left entirely blank, but I don't think you need all that space. So let's hop ahead to page 7 here. And on page 7, we've got this idea of human beings' new faith and confidence regarding their relationship with nature. Here's the other major piece that Bacon and Descartes, especially Bacon, adds on, is that when we move away from traditional understandings regarding the physical world, which are wrong, which are erroneous, tradition doesn't know what it's talking about, according to these revolutionaries, and needs to be moved away from, and we need to start with scientific thinking, then this will unlock a whole lot of new understandings regarding the physical world. And when we unlock these understandings regarding the physical world, as we move away from erroneous traditional understandings regarding the physical world, then we can apply this to our betterment. Now, you don't need to write all this down. But what Bacon is talking about is then human beings can be more in control of the environment. Human beings can manipulate and bend the environment, the physical world, to their will. And in the process, human beings can materially enrich themselves through these new understandings regarding the physical world. It will give human beings power and greater resources and more wealth and greater material betterment and financially enrich themselves. Basically, what Bacon is envisioning is human beings coming to understand and dominate the physical world and exploit the physical world to our material betterment. He's even here in the middle talking about human beings dominating physical existence, like the dominion. That means like building up an empire or domination of the human race over the universe. The empire of man over things, the material world. Even to the degree to which, and I suggest you obviously read these quotes in the middle of page 7, but even to the degree to which they think they can come to understandings regarding the physical world that can lead human beings to overcome aging, overcome the aging process. And you can see in these statements here in the middle of the page, there's even this notion that human beings, through understandings of the scientific understandings of the physical world, can apply this towards overcoming the aging and dying process. You start to see them hinting at potentialities, and they're just talking about this in the early scientific revolution of the 17th century, but scientific medical possibilities of overcoming death. And the modern conception of overcoming death is, don't die at all. Find, a scientific technological avenue of overcoming the aging process. So today we see instances, I should say, of like people cryogenically freezing themselves with the belief that science and technology will bring them back. Something like this. You start to see some of these early scientific revolutionaries go down this road in the 17th century. And therefore, this introduces us to the second major pillar of modern thought. The first is, if we start with doubt, if we don't believe anything unless it's proven, then that will lead us to certainty. The second major pillar is, therefore, if we move away from tradition, this will lead us to progress. According to these revolutionaries, traditional religion, doesn't understand what it's talking about regarding the physical world. If we move away from traditional understandings, if we arrive at new and better scientific understandings regarding our relationship to the natural physical world, this will lead us to material progression, scientific, medical science progression, etc. So what they're calling for is the triumph, what they believe to be the triumph of reason and scientific thinking, observation and experience over tradition and traditional religion regarding understandings and applications of the physical world.